Hello and welcome everybody back to another in the series of Vegans Across the World. Today we're in the Philippines with Sheila. Hello Sheila, nice to meet you.
Hi, Stacy. Great to meet you too.
Thank you for being here. Now Sheila is actually in the capital city of Manila. So what
Mhm.
I want to do is I'm going to share my screen with everybody and I'm going to show them where you are and give a few facts about the area. So when I do this, let me know. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, because I go off our screen and I'm going to zoom in and show your part of the world.
Uh-huh.
All right. And a few things about Manila and the Philippines.
Mhm.
Now, the Philippines is a country in Southeast Asia situated in the Western Pacific Ocean, and it consists of 7,641 islands. Now, I saw two different numbers. I saw 6,000 or 7,640, and then I saw 7,641. So I went with a higher number. It makes it one of the largest archipelagos in the world, and with it only has 2,000 inhabited islands, with nearly 5,000 still unnamed on global maps. They were named after King Philip II of Spain and are known for the beautiful beaches and delicious fruit. And due to the large amount of text messages, I thought this is funny, sent throughout the country, it is nicknamed the text capital of the world. And I read another fact that you guys actually send more text in the United States and the UK combined, I think, in a day.
Most probably.
I thought that was a wow. It's the only Asian country that is predominantly Christian, with 86% of the population being Roman Catholic. Three of the 10 largest shopping malls are in the Philippines. The Philippines is one of the world's largest producers of coconuts, also called buko.
Yes.
Is that how you say it? Okay.
Uh-huh.
And you can also find mangosteens, papayas, and bananas. The Philippines is the largest supplier of nurses in the world, with about 25% of all overseas nurses coming from there. So we should be thankful for the Philippines, and I would feel pretty safe if I was over there. Let's see. There's over 170 languages that are spoken, but they are the fifth largest English speaking nation. So I also read something about, actually, they said something about 174 languages, but four of the languages don't have any people alive anymore that speak them.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
the country suffered one of the largest volcanic eruptions back in June 15th of 1991. And the island of Palawan, did I say that right?
Palawan. Mhm.
Palawan, okay, was
Mhm.
named one of the best islands in the world by Condé Nast Traveler because of its natural beauty. And it's the 12th most populous country in the world with 100 or about 108 million people as of the 2019 census. So what I'll do is stop sharing my screen and I'll get back to us. And now Sheila, again,
Mhm.
welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? For example, what is it that you do and what kind of activism might you be involved in?
Okay, so I have a very diverse background. I was trained to be a teacher, and I went to social development after 3 years of teaching, and then in the last 3 years, I've been doing foresight work. So I am somebody who you could call a futurist. And in the Philippines, my activism, I'm basically doing a lot of speaking and writing. I have a blog and I write a lot about veganism in my blog. And I get invited to interviews like this, to talk in schools, and when we could still do the face-to-face events, get to visit other places to give talks.
That's wonderful. And again, everybody who's been watching this knows I always put links below the video when this airs.
Mhm.
So any links that you want to give me, social media, your blog, whatever, how to contact you for speaking, we'll have all that information below for everybody to check out. So, are
All
you
right.
originally from the Philippines?
Yes, I'm a Filipina, born and raised,
Okay,
and um, actually, I'm really from the national capital region, so I'm really what you call the Tagalog, or the native of this area,
of
and
Manila.
yeah, of Manila. It's the Greater Manila area. I was born in Caloocan City, which is a neighboring city also, and I think that makes me a bit of cosmopolitan by Philippine standards, because this is the capital. So I think that I'm quite exposed to different cultures, and I also did some traveling, and I also worked abroad. Yeah, it's kind of fun. They say it's fun. It's more fun in the Philippines.
Yeah. So you're a city girl and you're well traveled.
Well, I think so. At least in Asia, I've traveled quite a lot in Asia, and yeah.
Okay, that's great. So, can you tell us what's the culture and the food like where you're from?
Well, in Manila, there are a lot of restaurants, and in the last few years, the restaurants have started offering vegan food. I love it, and in fact, right now there are quite a number of restaurants that are purely vegan restaurants.
Well, that's great. I mean, so you guys, do you have like an eclectic? As far as the culture goes, do you have like a big mix? Is it kind of a melting pot of a bunch of different cultures there, or just the
Yeah.
food?
Well, definitely a melting pot of cultures here. The biggest, population of expats are also here in Manila. So
Okay.
definitely, you know, uh, that kind of population requires a diverse offering of food. So we have that here. You can have Vietnamese, a lot of Chinese food, of course, French, Italian, Mexican. It's all here.
Now, since the Philippines were named after King Philip II from Spain, is there a lot of Spanish influence there as well?
Yes, definitely. There are a lot of Spanish influence. We were colonized for 333 years. Can you imagine that? And
Wow.
so, definitely in our food, it really shows in our language. It shows, and some of our best loved food are influenced by Spanish cooking, Spanish cuisine.
So, how long have you been vegan?
Well, I became vegan September 21, 2015. I really remember the date because I decided on the date of my vegan birthday. And I've been wanting to be vegan for a long time. I was vegetarian for 17 years
Oh, wow.
before I became vegan. And when I decided to be vegan, I said, I'm going to be vegan on that date. But basically, a couple of years before that, I'm basically vegan already. But you are not unless you say you are, because if you are not yet accepting that you're vegan, you are exposed to different things that are we're not supposed to eat and we're not supposed to use. So I had to really tell myself, this is the date, this is the date that I'm going to be vegan. So I really remember that day, and I was quite prepared for it. It was an exciting day for me.
That's awesome. So, what made you want to go vegan? What was it that clicked for you?
Um, I was vegetarian for 17 years before that. I became vegetarian because I wanted to, I joined this organization that, promotes vegetarianism. And I thought that I was doing okay. I was quite pleased with myself. I was doing really good for myself and for the environment and for the animals and so on. And of course, the moment that I became really active in social media, I learned a lot of things that I was not very aware of for a long, long time. And
You mean
I
about
was
like the dairy and the egg industries?
yeah, all of those. I was a lacto vegetarian before, so I did not eat eggs, but a lot of dairy products. And when I started learning about veganism, I really toned down of eating dairy. But then I was also a climate reality advocate. I trained under Al Gore on climate reality, and I was very active speaking all over the Philippines on climate change. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I have to walk my talk. As an environmentalist, I have to be able to tell people, you have to change your life to make an impact. And how could I even say that if I'm not really practicing it myself? So I had to tell myself, it's time to make the change, to do the shift.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of environmentalists that still, even when faced with the truth about what the meat, dairy, and egg industries do to our environment, still they make excuses not to.
Mhm.
They want to blame the corporations, or get on the corporations about it. It's their fault. It's like, no, they supply what you demand. It's like it's all of our responsibility, every single one of us. But yeah, it's amazing how many environmentalists still don't want to make that connection. They don't want to make the sacrifice or the change in their life, you know so
Yeah, that's a bit sad. That's a bit sad because many of them are my friends here in the
yeah.
Philippines. That's my circle. And throughout the years that I've been, even as a vegetarian before, I was with the groups of environmentalists, and they were not even vegetarian. And then when I turned vegan, and I suddenly became like really weird already.
Yeah.
And so over the years, some of my friends have started shifting to vegetarian to veganism, and I'm quite pleased with that. I think it's starting, and more and more people will be aware of that. I think non-environmentalists are shifting also. It's not a domain of environmentalists to go vegan, definitely. In fact, sometimes environmentalists are the ones who take a bit of time to make the change because they think they're doing something already. They're doing
Yeah.
something good already. But
Well,
I would really say that you have to walk the talk. If you're doing that, you have to give an example and show the people what is possible. And so I just keep on doing it, and I just keep on being vocal about it, so that people understand, okay, it's not enough to be just an environmentalist.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's also about vegetarians. When you pe- vegetarians that know about the egg and dairy industries but still don't go vegan, it's like it's like the environmentalists. Unless they do it for the ethics, and that is animal rights. I just don't
Mhm.
think they're going to get it. Because they think they're doing enough. You know.
That's true, Stacy.
Yeah.
When I was vegetarian, first when I didn't have an idea, I really thought I was doing okay,
Sure.
and then.
There are vegetarians that are that way that just don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And then when I really started to find out about it, I've been telling my friends, and they would say, it's hard enough to be vegetarian. Why would you even go vegan? And then this is the very reason why I never, promote vegetarianism. When people are saying, can I just go vegetarian first? I would say, no, don't do that, because I was vegetarian for 17 years. I was stuck there, and I thought that I was doing really well, and
Yeah.
it makes you a bit complacent about things. It doesn't really you know uh, give you that challenge anymore to do something beyond it, because it
Yeah.
gives you certain feeling. And so I don't really promote vegetarianism. when people are saying, "Can I be a reducitarian or flexitarian or vegetarian?" I said, "I really don't promote that. You can get stuck to it. You can justify it, and that's definitely not enough with all of the things that we are experiencing right now."
So true. So very true. So, are any of your family, well, you kind of touched on your friends, but any of your family or close friends vegan?
Actually, my kids are grown up. They are vegetarian, and I'm still, in the process of trying to um, convince them to be vegans. It's quite difficult when they're grown ups, but then I have
Now, did you
friends.
bring them up vegetarian?
No, my daughter, she became vegetarian at 9 years old. It was her, 18 years old. That was her decision, and my son at 9 years old, and that was his decision also. When I was vegetarian, I was cooking meat for them, and it was terrible. I couldn't even taste it. So,
Yeah.
but then later on, my daughter, she finally decided to be vegetarian, and my son also later.
So, what made them make that choice at that age to become
Um,
vegetarian like yourself?
I would probably say because I was doing it while everybody else was not, and they kind of, saw that in me. And of course, they had questions growing up, and I was always explaining to them. I never forced them to be vegetarians, but if I became vegetarian a bit earlier, I would have raised them really vegetarian, and then had I learned about veganism before, I definitely would not go through vegetarianism. I would just jump to veganism because I think, it's something that I really regret not, shifting to veganism early on. Um, and that's the reason why, I really won't encourage anyone to be vegetarian. You have that tendency to be really lax about it, so I would just say, just go vegan.
Yeah, I mean, that's what everybody says. It's like, what do vegans regret the most? What's the one
Well,
thing
that is
vegans regret?
definitely
What's the
that
one
is
thing vegans
definitely
regret? It's not doing it sooner. We tell people,
exactly,
you know.
exactly. I was thinking, if I shifted earlier, if had I known earlier about it, I would have encouraged my kids early on about veganism. They were a bit younger. Maybe they could have shifted to veganism right away. But now that they're grown ups, when I became vegan, it's difficult. It's quite difficult now.
Well, that kind of brings me to my next question, and that is, what do they think of your veganism?
Well, they love it. Actually, they're quite proud of me being vegan, and they support me. But it's difficult for them. We're not together. My son is in university, and my daughter is married already. But so it's quite difficult for me to really like, influence them. If I were preparing their food, it would definitely be different, but because right now, the problem is, um, they decide on their own and they have their own life, and it's a bit difficult for me to encourage them now.
Yeah. So, what about like holidays and stuff like that? When they come around, do they come around for holidays? Do you make vegan meals? Do you share vegan meals? Like
Yeah, yeah.
influence them with that?
um, Holidays definitely are vegan. I prepare the food, and they help me out, and they're also quite excited to have like a fully vegan spread during Christmas, especially. So that's not a problem during holidays. When they invite friends around, um, the friends are quite surprised that we could have a full holiday with all vegan food.
Now, you're saying your friends are surprised. Do you have very many vegan friends?
Oh, I have a lot of vegan friends. Some of them are from the environmental sector who shifted to veganism also. And since I'm also part of a community of vegans here in the Philippines, yes, definitely I have a lot of vegan friends. We have a number of Facebook groups that are quite active, and we
Okay.
have a lot of members here. Not everyone is vegan, but a lot of them are transitioning.
So you have, would you say you have a fairly big vegan community then?
I would
Good,
say so.
good. So, would you say it's easy or hard to be vegan where you live?
You know, in the Philippines, I would say it's easy. Because, for example, you go to a restaurant, it's very easy to tell the waiter to ask the cook to veganize food. As long as you're, polite and courteous about it, they would love to, make your request. So it's not a problem. I think it's more our minds limit us more than our environment, because when we are in the environment, you can just go to a 7-Eleven and find the vegan food. You can go to a wet market and find vegan food. You can go to restaurants, and definitely find some alternatives there. And the bigger restaurants now, they have labels on their menus that say these are the vegan options, or something that is not non-vegan could also have a little leaf beside the name of the dish. That means that they can veganize it for you. So I wouldn't really say it's difficult. I would say that, what limits us really is our mind. When we think that it is difficult, then it becomes difficult for us. But if we are open and we are adventurous and we're ready to find the whatever is out there, then we will definitely find it.
So basically, it's largely accepted and understood. Veganism is understood by the
Mhm.
population. That's great.
Yes, definitely. Veganism is understood. There was a time that people don't even understand the word. What is that? And I would really say that it was so much harder to be vegetarian like 17 years ago or 20 years ago than it is to be vegan right now. It's so much easier to be vegan right now. In the grocery stores, you will find vegan alternatives there, labeled, and it is clear, and it's great. And there are
So you
also
get all the like the Beyond Burgers and the
yes, it's
sausages
here.
and the vegan
Yes, it's
cheeses
here.
and yeah,
We all have that. It's a bit pricey than the conventional ones, but
yeah,
um, what's the price that you pay. It's
yeah,
not only the grocery price tag cost that we're talking about here. We're talking about lives.
yeah.
So very helpful also are a lot of vegan entrepreneurs developing their own products. We have a community here that used to have, Sunday, good food Sundays. And they have, they serve their own food. They serve their own pizzas and their cheeses and their ice creams and all sorts of really great treats. Of course, that stopped when the lockdowns, because of the lockdowns. But you can definitely, order from them online. They will have it delivered to you, and that is also very helpful. If you have kind of a sweet tooth, there are a lot of pastry makers, bakers, and all sorts of things.
So you
Which,
see a lot of entrepreneurs coming up, a lot of business
uh huh,
people, small
yeah,
businesses.
yeah.
Good.
It's a quite vibrant community. It's a growing community, and if you ask the new vegan entrepreneurs, they would say that most of their clients are not even vegan. They just enjoy the food, and so I would tell people that, well, it's very easy to shift to veganism right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So what about like toiletries, leather alternative? I mean, well, you're in a hot area, so maybe you don't
Mhm.
need leather so much, but you know what I mean, like wool alternatives, leather alternatives, alternatives to things that aren't food. Do you find those easily?
Yes, there are, of course, there are, um, imported products that are vegan, labeled vegan. But there are also some new entrepreneurs here making makeup, uh, toiletries, grooming products, uh, all sorts of things, even cleaning products at home. They
Right.
make those, and um,
I would say since aren't you guys like one of the didn't I say something about being one of the biggest exporters of coconuts?
yeah, yeah, we are.
So
We
I
are.
heard a lot about coconut leather. What about that? Is that a big business there, or you see that growing?
I don't really see coconut leather here in the Philippines. Maybe it's being, manufactured abroad. It's not really like a very famous material here right now. But some accessory stores have their own vegan leathers. I'm not sure what that is made of. And, even synthetic materials, we have had that for the longest time. There's no need to use dairy, to use leather at all because it's available. The alternatives are just all around us available. And it only takes like a little, snooping around, like really asking around, is this leather or is this vegan friendly material, and then you'll definitely find one. And of course, these online communities that we have, everyone's very helpful. If you post a question there, people will answer, and people will give you a lot of tips and help you find whatever you're looking for. So it's a really vibrant community.
That's great. So, um, you said it's easy to be vegan where you are, but as a vegan, what are the struggles?
um Wow. Uh, I don't really. That's a good question, Stacy. I really don't see any. If, like for me, I think the struggle for me was to choose not to be vegan. If I feel for any reason that I won't be vegan, that would be a struggle. It happened to me when I was a vegetarian. I said that I can't be a vegetarian right now. I'm living with my parents, and I tried not to be, but I was not happy. So I think that would be the struggle, to be not aligned with your principles, with your values. That would be the struggle for me. So for me, everything is easy because this is what I want. It's a choice that I've made, and it's not that everything is being given to me automatically. I have to do my work also, but it's because that I'm open about it, and I feel that it's important, that it makes it easier for me to do what people think to be difficult. So really, it's how we look at things, and what's our perspective is in terms of the shift. So I guess if somebody feels that it is difficult, it is not really. It's more on the mindset, I would say. And once we have dealt with our mindset, and once we have opened our mind to the reality of the environment and how animals are being affected, then it's just flowing. It's just so easy because there's no struggle anymore. Your mind is not telling you do this. No. It's not at all. It becomes so easy when you're aligned with what you believe in.
Yeah, so often though, the answer to that question most people tell me is other people. That's the biggest struggle. Other people.
I agree.
So, how do people? All right, you said you have a big vegan community, and it sounds like you have you said you have groups that are very active. We do too. We have active. They call themselves vegan groups, but it's mainly about food.
Mhm.
So, what would you say? How do you say people view animal rights where you live? Not just veganism, but
Well,
animal rights.
Well, animal rights. I mean, the core groups of these online communities are definitely animal rights activists. Um, we see each other during marches, and during um, uh, vigils, and all sorts of offline activities.
So
But
you have a lot of activism there?
yes, we have a lot of activism here, but the problem is because of the lockdown, it's kind of toned down a bit. But
Sure.
once there is an opportunity, people do something definitely. Um, but the larger number of people active in these groups are vegans. They are vegans for food.
Yeah.
um, so it's still kind of a struggle in terms of really letting people know that veganism is so much beyond food. It's definitely not a diet. And people need to understand that it's not just the food that you eat, but also the products that you use. If you're not going to zoos, if you are, not supporting any um, animal exploitation in whatever form. And I think that would be the thing that vegan activists, animal rights activists really have to focus on, because a lot of people are already advocating about the food. Instagram, you don't have to go there. Actually, a lot of people are already doing that. So definitely the focus should be educating people about animal rights, what is the abolitionist approach, and how could we really make people understand about animal sentience, and all of these things that kind of shocks people, really. Because Filipinos love dogs and cats, but beyond that, I wouldn't say they really love other animals. It's just especially being a developing country, eating meat, animal flesh, is kind of an aspiration for many. It sort of gives them a bit of the status that if you can afford that, then you are doing well.
See
Um,
that's great that you bring that up because I just recently had an interview with somebody from Uganda and we talked about that. And that's the thing. There's so many people coming out now that are trying to say that being vegan is a privilege, but the fact is that actually meat eating is considered status, and it's a food of the rich, and that's how it's been traditionally, and a lot of cultures actually already exist on primarily plant-based foods.
mhm, mhm,
So to eat meat is actually that's a privilege, and that's what people strive for to show that they've made it. you know and that's
yeah.
really what Western cultures have done to the world
Mhm,
is the meat eating, because there's a lot of talk about, oh well, veganism is colonization and it's a privilege. No, plants, nuts, seeds, beans, fruits are not privileged. Meat eating is a privilege, and they're trying to twist this around on vegan activists nowadays. And but then I talk to people, yeah, that are coming from the developing countries, and they're like, no, no, meat eating is the privilege. That's what people aspire to, like you just said, aspire to, because
mhm.
it's a status symbol. It's a way to show that you've made it. And
Yeah, but I always tell people when we go to that conversation, actually, we try, as a developing country, we try to, follow the development trajectory of these developed countries. But we don't really have to. We can just leapfrog towards what
yeah.
I know these developing countries are already in. For example, there was a time that
Skip
meat
the
was
bad
not
stuff
really
we're doing.
present. You just leapfrog to
Yeah.
veganism. You're already there. You don't have to go through that all of that struggle, and I think that's a way to show people, if you really want to follow where they are, well, just do it.
Yeah,
Everyone is talking about veganism right now, plant-based for some people that they call it that. So why not just go vegan?
yeah,
If you really want to follow and aspire for where these developing countries are, because definitely that's where they are right now.
yeah. Agreed. I agreed. Yeah. So, what's your favorite form of activism? Now, you said there's a lot of activism. I have questions about that. Do you have like Save movement and stuff like that where you're at?
Mhm.
What kind of
Yeah,
other
we have
groups do you have?
Save movement. I have joined some of the vigils a few years, like a couple of years back, because last year there was almost none. And we have Save, we have Anonymous for the Voiceless. We do the cubes here. Some people also participate in chalking, and there are some, we kind of go to areas where there were a lot of people. This is before the pandemic, and we distribute vegan kits. Um, and we talk to
And you
people.
mentioned marches. You do animal rights marches and stuff
Yeah,
like
we
that.
we did the two animal marches already. We do this every year. Last year we did it virtually. I was not able to join. I had an event that time, but couple of years before the pandemic, we did already the animal rights march, and we also have this National Animal Rights Day
The
in
NARD
June.
event. Yeah.
And so these are the times when vegans and animal rights activists come together to really, show the people what this is about, and we get a good media coverage also.
Oh, great. And what about receptions from the public? Do you get a pretty good reception from the public?
It's quite mixed. Some people are quite interested about it. They're curious, and that's good. Curiosity is definitely good. And some people would just outrightly say, "No, no, no, we need to eat meat. We
Yeah.
will die," or something like
And
that. And I would
I'm sure
tell
you get
them,
a lot of, and I'm sure you get a lot of tourism as well. So you,
yes, we do. We have a lot of tourism here in Manila, elsewhere in the country, and when foreigners go to the Philippines, they would think, "Oh, it's difficult to be vegan here." Um, Actually, at the onset, it looks difficult, but you can always talk to people in restaurants, and you can always make a request. And people are really quite accommodating. So you just have to go the extra mile if you really would like
yeah,
to maintain your vegan practice.
yeah. So do you guys have a lot of slaughterhouses or farmland around you? Do you?
Definitely, even here in Manila, slaughterhouses here, in the places where we do the save vigils, like they slaughter hundreds of pigs a day. It's heartbreaking, and um, people are quite surprised why we do that. No, we put out these placards waiting for the trucks to come in. When the trucks come in, we ask the driver if we could give the pigs drink. Um, and they allow us a few minutes, and then they would have to go inside, and after a few hours the pigs are slaughtered. It's really heartbreaking, and it's just part of everyday living here in the communities near the slaughterhouses. They hear it every day, and the problem with that is some people get numb to it. They get accustomed to it. It doesn't become too relevant anymore. Not understanding that each one of those cries are uh, living beings. They are beings who want to live. They want to survive. And I think it would take a lot of time to really awaken the people to this reality. But I'm just happy that there are people who are really keen on doing it and continue doing it despite the odds.
Yeah, you just have to keep putting the message out there. So, I'm really interested to see your blog. And don't you? Did you say you do something like vegan singles or something like that? Is it dating service? Was that you?
it's
They
not
said
it's
that.
not a dating service, it's only a
Okay.
Facebook group. It's a Facebook
Oh,
group.
okay.
Because there are memes going around about vegans being single, couldn't find a partner. And so I thought, okay, let me just put this up. It's a new group. We have probably 1,000 people in, and not very active too. I think because of our culture, we're quite you know uh, are not very open about
You
that
mean
in
the Roman
public.
Catholic part? The Roman Catholic?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But it's a way to get to know people. They don't really like uh, meet each other in chat with each other on the wall of the group. But I always encourage them, message each other and tell them you saw them in this group, and that would open a conversation. And I think it's important to have these things allow people to an opportunity to meet each other, because there are quite a number of vegan groups, and it's different. The conversation there is different. And when I set up that group, I told them, okay, I'm setting up this group. I'm the admin. Please don't message me. I'm not looking for a day. But still after sometimes somebody messages you, it's funny.
That's great. So, well, I kind of got off track there before we said when I asked you about the activism that happens there. I was going to ask you, what is your favorite form of activism?
I would say my favorite form of activism would be really writing and speaking about veganism, because I think that is just my skill, and that is something that I would really be able to do without too much, difficulty. So I get invited to speak, and I do my blog. Sometimes I get invited to write for um, other platforms also. For example, the latest one that I did was a list of vegan myths and facts on veganism for the Climate Reality Project. I did that in July. And I also did that one last year for the same organization, but it was a different. It was an interview. So I think we still need to really educate people. No, it's good to march in the streets, and definitely I would join if there's an opportunity to do that. But especially now during the pandemic, our strongest tool right now is social media. So
True.
if there's an opportunity to speak like this, and there's an opportunity to write for other platforms as well, I would definitely do that.
Yeah. And I mean, social media has become so incredibly important, especially right now. I mean, that's why, one of the reasons I pursued doing the series, is because um, it makes me feel like I can do a little bit more, even if we can't get out as much. But I know a lot of people are still in lockdown. Now we're not in lockdown where I live right now, though they are talking about coming down on harder measures again, which I doubt is going to happen because I just think once the people got out of it, you're not going to be able to force them back in like they were ever complying anyway. But with the Delta variant that's coming out, people are worried, and it might affect travel. People have been traveling like crazy. But how is it affecting you there? Are you in lockdown right now, or have you been in lockdown the whole time? It's different everywhere.
Yes, this is our third lockdown. Actually, started
Man,
the August 5, and it's gonna be a couple of weeks. But from experience, these lockdowns get extended, and so I'm not really hoping for an early easing up of restrictions. Um, Maybe it would last 3 4 weeks, and so it's something that I'm trying to prepare myself for. And this is the difficulty when you're an animal rights activist. You can't get restricted to online activism. It's not much, but what can we do? We have to continue the work even if we have these restrictions right now.
I've actually seen a lot of great activists come out on social media nowadays,
Mhm.
and I think I think it actually, in a way, helps some people that don't feel as comfortable going out in public become
Mhm.
more active. And if that's true, I'm very thankful for it. We can reach
Mhm.
people much further than just outside, or
Mhm.
doing a cube of truth downtown. You can reach a lot more
Mhm.
people. Of course, I still think all those things are important if you can do them, because face to face contact or conversations are extremely impactful. But I
Mhm.
think I see so many creative ways of people coming and
Yes.
speaking out now online, and I'm really grateful for it. And so, yeah, I'm glad you're doing your thing, and we need all the voices. The animals need all of our voices. So, so if vegan visits where you live, where do you think that they should go? That doesn't have to be a restaurant. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. Where do you think they should go?
I would really encourage them to go to Mindanao. Mindanao is not really it's a big region down south, and it gets a really negative press. Because
Why is that?
some parts of Mindanao have insurgents, but this is a really large place, so it's a really huge region. So only a few places are have peace and security issues, but everywhere else there are so many tropical fruits, so many different kinds of fruits, very, very cheap, and vegetables, really cheap. So, I would encourage people to go to Mindanao and also see for themselves it's not war out there. There's a lot of peace there, so many wonderful fruits there, really cheap, and diverse kinds of vegetables. And in the cities also, of course, like in Manila, vegan restaurants are also sprouting, so it would be nice to visit Mindanao.
Do you have any favorite vegan restaurants there? Or?
In Mindanao, I don't live there, but then I know that there is this restaurant. He's a nurse who turned restaurateur. He set up this. We call it lechon. The lechon is actually roasted pig, like roasted whole pig. That's the
Mm,
lechon, and it's a delicacy in the Philippines. But then what he did was to do a vegan version of that. Just that
okay.
he calls it the velichon, the belly, but the vegan version of that, and it's quite famous. He also brought it to Manila, and he placed it in the place where the lechon is very famous, like in La Loma, like a lot of restaurants there selling lechon, and he put his cart there, and he's the only person selling this the
I
vegan
would love
version.
to try it.
Yeah, yeah, it would be nice to try that one, because you don't leave the Philippines if you haven't tasted lechon for the non-vegans. But definitely for vegans, we say you have to try this one, because if you want to taste what lechon is, but don't want
Without
all
harming
of
an
the
animal.
cruelty that goes
Yeah.
with it, then try this one. This is
Well,
the
you'll
best.
have to give us a link for that so that if people do visit, they will definitely give some support and
Mm-hmm,
try
mm-hmm.
them out. I know I'd be willing. I'd be willing to try that out. So
Yes, yes, and you would be able to say, I tasted lechon," and they would
yeah,
be surprised. How come you tasted lechon? It's pig. But there is vegan lechon, and that's how it is. Everything can be veganized. It's a proof of concept. So I think people are kind of surprised that that could be done. But I always tell people everything can be veganized now. Fish, um, whatever, even caviar.
yep. I've had vegan
Foie
caviar.
gras.
I've
Yeah.
had
So,
vegan caviar and foie gras. It's pretty good. Pretty
yeah.
good. And I'll
So,
tell you, when I wasn't vegan, I didn't like caviar. And
mhm.
I tried this vegan caviar and I quite liked it. So it
There's
was
no
better
excuse.
vegan.
Mhm. Yeah, so if you want like high-end vegan food, well, have foie gras, have caviar, and have this lechon and whatever is there. You can definitely find it. You just have to do a bit of like uh,
There's recipes on YouTube. You can find it.
definitely.
Yeah.
And Yeah, Filipino YouTubers also, vegan Filipino YouTubers are also cooking up uh, these traditional Filipino dishes, veganizing them, and showing the people that it can be done. It doesn't have to be difficult. There should be no struggle about it. It's fun and discovering, in your kitchen when you become vegan, discovering new things for yourself,
Yeah.
experimenting in your kitchen. That is quite exciting.
Yeah, it's adventurous. It's very creative. I like it a lot. So I was going to ask you what your favorite local vegan dish they should try, but I would say it's the lechon.
Well, that's not definitely not my favorite vegan dish. It's the
Okay, what is
favorite
it?
favorite of Filipinos. Yeah, Filipinos love that. And also what we call our national dish, adobo. This is a soy and vinegar based meat. Sometimes it's made of pig, and sometimes it's chicken. But you can use tofu, you can use seitan, you can use what we call magic meat here. All of these things can be made into any of the traditional dishes that people enjoy as comfort food, that people really love growing up. But I would say my favorite vegan dish would be not the Filipino dishes, but
That's fine.
Indian dishes. I
Okay.
love Indian dishes, and a lot of them are vegan by default. And I just love, the festival of flavors in Indian cuisine. And if you love Indian cuisine, definitely you can find the vegan versions of them in the Philippines.
So any of the Indian dishes that are vegan,
Yeah.
you would
Mm-hmm.
it's your favorite. So how can finally how would they get involved in your local vegan community? Just find one of the groups that you were talking about, or is that what you would
Yes.
say? Yeah.
That could definitely be a start. You can look for Manila vegans. You can look for vegan Philippines. You can look for vegan Philippine singles, and many other smaller groups. And I have also initiated Vision Vegan Asia, which is just a smaller organization, right? A smaller group right now, because it's a fairly new one. And what I'm trying to do is to bring Asian vegans together and find, initiatives to work together on in the region. And my goal right now is just to grow the community first, and hopefully in a year's time we will be able to do projects together, because we in one of the vegan online groups, Vegans of Manila, they set up this yearly, um, what do you call that, veg fest, vegan
Okay.
festival.
Yeah.
And when there was no pandemic, they have been doing it, and every single year people are like growing and growing. More people are visiting, more people are interested, more people are waiting for it and excited for it. And last year I was a speaker also, but we did it online. We did it online. We did some talks, some cooking demos, and what else? There were some contests. They gave out prizes. It was kind of fun, even
That's
online.
great. That's great. And again, any links you want to give me, included below, guys. Included below to check that out.
Yes, I would definitely share with you all of these groups, and some of this I am admin of, and some of this I'm member of. But you can, choose whichever you want to join.
But she's not available, people. She's not. Don't go private messaging her. Asking you out. Everybody's going to be asking you out now. So finally, I want to ask you, where would you like to visit one day and learn about veganism there? You've traveled a little bit, but where's maybe someplace you haven't been, but you would like to learn about veganism there one day?
Well, I would definitely want to go to the States. And, the States is always like ahead of everyone else for everything. And so I would love to see what's there in terms of veganism, how is activism there, and, what are the innovations in terms of food, in terms of materials for, vegan alternative products. Um, and I think it would be exciting to see what's sort of cutting edge out there, so I can share it to my communities in the Philippines. I have a sister in Texas, and my boyfriend is in the States, and I have a lot of friends there, people who I grew up with from school and from university, and they are teachers, teachers, and they hold all sorts of professions. It would be great to visit and see, how is it to live vegan there, and to, try to see what are the innovations.
Yeah. And actually, it's been a while, but I heard about a great vegan barbecue place. And I can't remember the names of these places, but there was supposed to be a great vegan barbecue place in Texas, as well as an authentic vegan Mexican restaurant where the whole family, they're from Mexico, I believe, and they, because of the father's health problems, he
Mhm.
turned vegan and they turned the whole restaurant vegan. The whole family went vegan.
Wow.
And so it's all authentic, just veganized. I would love to try both those places, but I can't remember the name of them right now. I'd probably find it online again. So, that is my final question, but I do have a surprise question that I've added in here recently. Yes or no? Pineapple on pizza.
Yes.
Yay! You win!
Definitely a yes for me.
I've only asked two other people and they said no, and I was so upset. So anyway, all right. I don't have any prizes for that, but you win anyway. So
It's
Sheila, it's
pleasant
been,
to know that you love it. I love pineapple on
oh
pizza.
yeah. I like it with banana peppers or jalapenos. You got to have the sweet and the spicy.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
anyway, all right, awesome. Finally, I got somebody that said yes. So with that, it is getting late for me, even though I know you're just starting your day. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go. It's been a pleasure to meet you and have a conversation with you and get to know where you're from. So I hope we keep in touch. And we'll give, again, people, we'll give all the links to things we talked about below and check those out. And Sheila, again, thank you so much. I want you to have a wonderful day. And I hope to talk to you soon. Okay. Do you have any
Thank
last
you
things
very
to
much,
say?
Tracy, for this opportunity to share about veganism to your audience. And it's been a pleasure, and it was really fun talking to you. And let's talk again soon.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye
Thank you,
bye.
Sheila. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Another great guest. I mean, I really haven't had any bad guests. I enjoy talking to all these people so much. It's so interesting. And I never really had a desire to go to the Philippines. I don't know why. It's just not a place I looked into, but I really am interested now. I really uh, would like to check it out. So, what do you guys think? Tell us below. And if you want to know who I'm going to have next week, you're just going to have to show up. All right. Love ya.